Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is 903 Sports. Today I'm joined by the boys, Hunter Shattuck, Mason Cudd, Jeffrey Yeager, and first-time guest, Chase Moore. Chase Moore is the winner of our first 903 Sports bracket group. He smoked everybody on this pod. I wasn't close, I know that for sure. Chase wrapped it up with Kansas getting the dub last night. And fun fact about Chase, we do a college pick'em for football between about 9 or 10 of us, and Chase won that this year as well. So it's been a good year to be Chase. So Chase, I will give you the floor. Was there a strategy to your bracket, or did you just shoot from the hip?
Man, I guess to start this off, yeah, I mean, I would like to recognize myself in winning the bracket and
Well done.
our football pick'em. So I appreciate that, and just it's been a great year. I wish you all the best in future years. So yeah, I can't. It's great to have that football pick'em. I appreciate you doing that. It's been fun to do that the past
Has been
6 or 7 years, or I don't know, it's probably been longer than that at this point. So
wow.
but yeah, dude, A&M did make the tournament. That's the biggest snub of all time. I don't know if y'all got to watch the NIT championship. It was a heartbreaker. A&M lost on a last-second shot, so almost won the NIT. But if A&M would have been in the tournament, this probably would be a different story because we would have won the whole thing. You know, that's how that works out. But,
would you have picked him to win the whole thing?
If we would have made the tournament, we would have been the 12 seed, and I would have had us Elite Eight.
Oh,
wow.
So
okay. That wouldn't have been too crazy either.
They were red hot.
We beat all. I will say the SEC didn't show up in the tournament outside of Arkansas, which who would have guessed that Arkansas would be the team to show up out of all the SEC teams?
Yeah.
But no, I really think that A&M was just a hot team and finished the year really strong. They just had a rough point in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But
I got a question for you. You brought up the NIT. I've always wondered as a fan, how much do you care about your team making an NIT run? Like, were you blocking off your day to watch the NIT, or was it just like, I guess I'll flip it on and to see how they're doing?
Yeah, definitely the later. The SEC tournament, you know, I was like going out of my way, throwing it on at work. NIT, I was like, oh, cool. The first 2 rounds, who even cares? And then you're like, okay, we can make the Final Four. I guess that's kind of cool. But then we made the championship game. I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch that.
Okay.
And obviously pulling for us, but I wasn't super invested in it. But once you make the Final Four, you're like, oh, let's go.
Especially at MSG and everything. It's a pretty cool scene.
They traveled well too. They had a pretty good crowd in the championship game.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That good Maggies are everywhere.
Everywhere, man. Gig them. Gig the world. But strategy, I have developed a little bit of a strategy as far as picking March Madness.
To say, please help.
And I think it's all about how they play in the conference tournament. I think especially if a team like A&M, who had to start from like the bottom of the tournament, they were a 9 seed going into the tournament. They had to win a bunch of games to get to the championship game. You know, they're playing well. Kansas won the Big 12 championship. Truly, I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but when I'm picking my bracket, I just look at how they finish the year out. I don't really care about the beginning of the year. I don't know any of the big names. I had Tennessee in the Final Four. They screwed me, Cameron.
SEC champion.
That's a nice little olive branch between the two of you, though, putting Tennessee in the Final Four. I like that.
Yeah, come on, SEC.
That's right.
And then I had Kentucky as well, but I mean, love the Peacocks, so I wasn't even mad about that one.
What a run.
What a run. So, yeah, and then had Coach K, you know, I had him going far. I had Duke in the Final Four and in the championship game, but I didn't think Coach K would be able to finish it out. But old Tar Heels got it done, which didn't expect that one. I didn't have them winning a game.
That was a hell of a game.
No, me either.
Duke UNC Saturday night was a hell of a game. But good pick in Kansas because, you know, I think the Big 12 is one of the best conferences in basketball. And now I had Kansas getting bounced to, of course, Tennessee. And then, wait, what region was
Did you have to?
I had Tennessee winning the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, not a bad pick. They were hot.
Arizona was Tennessee's 1 seed.
Yeah. So who did? Oh, Kansas had to go through Creighton and then Providence. Yeah, I had Villanova come out of that region.
Oh, they had
Yeah.
such an easy route.
Yeah, they mopped
But-
the floor with the Big East.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But well,
But
gentlemen,
I also
so we're-
like teams like Baylor that got beat pretty handily, and teams like Auburn that got beat pretty handily in their tournament early on. Like I had Auburn getting beat in the round of 32, which was where they got beat, and then I had
excellent pick.
Baylor losing to UCLA,
Sorry,
which they
Hunter.
ended up just getting beat a round earlier. So that's my wisdom that I bring to the table here is look at conference championships and our conference tournaments and see how they play.
Well, the pecking order right now is Chase, the rest of us.
Yeah,
So-
I'm at the bottom of the rest.
Yeah.
I don't know, Cam. How many points did your bracket score total?
I was like right in the middle of the pack. I was like 10 less. Hunter, you got me by one pick, right? 10.
That's right.
Well, when you pick Tennessee to win the whole thing and they get beat in the second round, you're pretty much sunk.
I think
I was
I
in the same
literally-
boat, Bob.
I think I literally could have just flipped a coin and scored more points than my bracket did. I think I ended with 390 total.
That's bad.
That's
That's way worse than me.
That's
Oh,
really
it's
bad.
terrible. It's awful.
Not good.
Who do you have winning?
Gonzaga.
That's just the worst pick. I'm always anti.
Me
I
too.
also have a desire to be the perfect bracket someday. You got to have the upsets, the 14s beating the 3s. You got to have the ones getting beat early.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm just always like the number one team in the bracket. Never pick them to win. It's just boring,
Never
you
pick
know?
Gonzaga. They always fail early in the tournament. They never win the tournament. Never pick.
I just want one day. I almost had it this year. I just want one perfect day. Here's just one perfect day. And the second
never been
day
able to
of the
do that.
first round, I went 15-1. And it was close. I think I was 12-0 that day, and I lost. I don't know. It was Davidson lost by a point to Michigan State, and I had Davidson beating Michigan State. And that would have been the perfect days. I'm going to start with the perfect day, Chase, before I start to go after the perfect bracket.
baby step.
I'm-
Baby step.
I'm too ambitious for that. Perfect bracket. Come on.
All right, Chase. Well, I want to get one more thing with you, then we'll let you get out of here. So if people who don't know Chase are listening, Chase, diehard Aggie alum, talk to me about some A&M football here, Chase. What do we expect going into this season? High hopes again for the Aggies this year, I think. Jimbo,
Oh, yeah.
recruiting class. So talk to me a little bit about some Aggie football.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got good on here, so I got to mention the A&M Alabama game this year.
Mm.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it was one of the greatest nights of my entire life.
Not Cuds.
It was actually the most incredible game. Just
It was.
because some of those upset games are like, oh, you kind of come from behind in the fourth quarter, or you're kind of leading the whole game, and it's just really tight at the end. But this was like back and forth, blow
Yeah.
for blow, like so many momentum shifts, and was just like so much fun. And for someone like Cud, who Alabama fan and had money on the game, tough look.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to be at. But man, I'm optimistic. I'm pretty glad that Zach Calzada is gone, and wish him the best at Auburn. I'm not glad he's gone, but I'm just glad we have somebody else at QB.
Right. That's fair enough.
So we have our spring game this Saturday, so going to that. We have kind of a three-way competition at quarterback. Max Johnson has been the starter at LSU the last 2 years. Haynes King was our starter to begin the year last year and got hurt. And then we have a 5-star recruit, number one dual threat, Connor Wagman. So I'm eager to go this weekend and see kind of who's going to win that quarterback battle. But all three of those guys are top notch.
Who's the favorite
which
to win
is-
that battle right now? Is it Haynes King?
I would guess it's Haynes King.
I'm pretty curious about that as well.
I
Yeah.
think you'll want to roll out Max. I think Max is
Really?
going to be the guy.
LSU guy?
Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I think it's between Haynes and Max, being honest. I think Connor has the highest upside out of all of them, but he's just young. So we'll see. I mean, I was optimistic last year. I think we'll hopefully win 10 games this year. If we can win them at the right time, make the SEC championship. And
Be a good year.
I mean, yeah, if we would have won 10 games last year, we could have pulled it off, but unfortunately lost to Arkansas and Ole Miss, and we lost to
That-
LSU too.
That Bama win made up for all of it, though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Man, the loss that sunk y'all was Mississippi State.
That was
That
bad.
was the
Oh,
worst
I
one.
forgot about that loss. Oh
That
my
was
gosh.
the worst one out of all of them.
That
Didn't you
was
lose to
Yeah.
Ole Miss? Is that right?
Yeah, we beat Alabama. We lost to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, and Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
But beat Alabama. And did we beat
makes
anybody
sense,
else
man.
last year?
Beat Auburn. Didn't you?
Yeah, we beat Auburn. So
Yeah.
One day I'll know what
non-conference
to
game
play.
this year is Miami, and there's some optimism around that program. But I think we should stomp them. Play Florida out of the East this year, and then the typical brutal SEC West schedule.
Big
Yeah.
year for the Aggies. Big year for Jimbo. So
Yeah. Cud, are you going to the game, the Alabama
Oh yeah.
A&M
Yeah.
game? It's in Tuscaloosa.
Oh yeah, I'll be there, and I'm going
Yeah.
to the Bama UT game. I wouldn't miss that for anything.
Oh, y'all freaking stomp them, dude.
Oh, I can't wait for that glorious day.
Bama who?
Bama UT, yay.
Texas?
The fake UT. Yeah,
See,
they
you
played
don't
Texas
even know.
this year.
You don't even know the schedule, Jeff.
Not a
I
real
don't.
fan.
I haven't looked. You know, I cross bridges when I come to them. So September 1st, I'll look at the schedule,
Clown fan.
or August 20th or whatever it is.
Well, all right. Well, football season's coming up, Chase. Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for joining. Congrats on winning the bracket and the pick'em. Big year for Chase Moore. Going for the repeat next year. We will send you the
Oh, yeah.
first 903 Sports merch as well. So
Oh yeah.
I will get with you on that, and we'll figure out how we're going to get that. So, Chase, good to talk to you, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dudes. We'll get together next time I'm in East Texas, and
Let's play some golf.
have a wedding coming up there. Yeah, dude. Love to play some golf. So
Sounds
good to see y'all, dudes.
All right, Chase. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon.
See
Yeah,
ya.
brother.
All right, boys. Well, that was fun. So Chase Moore, winner of the bracket. Not me. It will never be me, unfortunately. I'd like to do that again next year. We had a pretty good turnout for that. So thanks for everybody for playing. I think we had 30 plus people, which is nice for a pod that has like 70 followers on Twitter. So I appreciate that. Thanks for everybody for doing that. All right, boys, let's talk a little tournament. Tournament's over. I'm sad. One shining moment always makes me sad. Great tournament, a lot of memories. St. Pete, a lot of upsets. Tennessee, unfortunately, came up short. Baylor came up short. Texas came up short. Bama came up short. So not good for us in that regard, but we've had a few weeks to kind of sulk and get that over with. So Final Four, Duke, UNC, one of the best games I've ever seen. Nova, Kansas. Hunter, you mentioned this. That was one of the most enjoyable blowouts I've ever seen. Nova was, they would inch in every now and then, they would Kansas go back up. And Kansas, it was just Kansas's year. North Carolina up 15.5 on them. We'll start. Let's start with that game, and then we'll go to Duke, North Carolina. So North Carolina up 15.5 in the Natty last night over Kansas, and they just buckled in the second half. Man, they couldn't make anything. Caleb Love, bless his heart, he had a terrible game. Puff Johnson, if it wasn't for him, North Carolina would have gotten blown out in the second half. He single-handedly kept them alive. So Hunter, what happened to North Carolina last night? Did they just fold, or was it just Kansas's time?
Well, I think it was obviously a little bit of both. They looked a lot like they did in the last 10 minutes against Baylor. Carolina they looked rattled. And I know that's the cliche thing to say, but I mean, that's exactly what happened. They were rushing shots. They weren't making clean passes. And you could tell that whoever had the ball, they were just looking, how can I get rid of it? How can I not screw this up? I mean, it really looked like they could feel the weight of what was going on. And Kansas, they did the same thing against Miami. They looked rough in the first half, slow, sluggish, not making good looks and everything, just not putting it together. Then they come out of halftime and they look like an NBA team. I mean, they're running and gunning and they just looked unbeatable. I don't know if a team reasonably could have hung with Kansas in the second half. Mm-hmm. So I think obviously to blow a 15-point lead, you have to play poorly. Like if Carolina would have gone out and taken care of business, that wouldn't have happened no matter how well Kansas played.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's a little unfair to Kansas to just say UNC folded because they played one of the cleanest halves of basketball we've ever seen. It was unbelievable.
Similar to Miami when they came out and jumped all over them in the Sweet 16 game.
Yeah. Now Miami did fold. Miami scored 15 points in that second half.
But Kansas came out with their hair on fire. Miami had no idea how to react.
Yeah,
Bill
as soon as they
gave
came,
some dang good halftime speeches.
Kansas came out of halftime and they immediately ran that pick and roll lob to McCormick. And I mean, as soon as they did that, the bench came alive and it was on. I mean, it was still a 13-point game at that point, but just the vibe in the arena changed.
And credit to North Carolina, they did not go away. Puff Johnson, like I said earlier, came and he kept them in it. And they're into the end. Caleb Love just their man. He just wasn't his night. And I hate that for him because without Caleb Love, they're out in the second round of Baylor. They don't win that game in OT without him. And then after they get past that, I mean, it's a big shot against UCLA, carried him against Duke. And then he was awesome in the tournament. So he's got nothing to be ashamed of. Excellent player. Armando Baycott played through a shattered ankle, and he rolled it again. Did y'all see that video of the court?
Yeah,
Moved.
Gabe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it like moved because it's on a football field. I mean, that's ridiculous. Come on.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
like moved like a Lego. It was crazy.
Like the board basically kind of like concaved in with his step.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Hated to
Yeah.
see that. So, Cub, with Kansas win last night, I'll ask you: was Bill Self one of the most slept-on coaches in sports?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, like he's been a cornerstone in college basketball as far as coaches and where he's taken his teams, you know, since he's been there. So yeah, I mean, 100%. Honestly, I didn't even think he needed that championship win to even
Definitely not.
give him that status at all. That's awesome for him, but I thought he was already an incredible ball coach to begin with. But looking back at, you know, the Final Four, I was sad, you know, the way Villanova, you know, they were out of gas, and they were never a fast-paced team like Kansas, so they got handled there in that Duke North Carolina game, absolute war. But really going into last night you know, when we were talking about North Carolina getting the jump on them, right by 15 at half, Kansas was 6 for 21 in the paint in the first half. Then immediately the first 6 possessions of second half, you get the alley-oop, and Christian Braun goes the whole 4 times and makes 3 layups. So, I mean, obviously I wasn't in the locker room, but I would assume that Bill Self was saying, hey, keep attacking the hole. We're going to get good shots around the rim. And they did that exactly. And to me, really, you know, everyone was talking about the great guard play of both teams. What stood out to me the most was David McCormick and Armando Baycott. Absolute war on the block, tough rebounds, tough putbacks, and, you know, hook shots in the paint, I think David McCormick, like 90% of the second half, he was already at like 3 or 4 fouls.
Yeah.
So he was on thin ice basically the whole rest of the way. And Baycott already had a shattered ankle. I mean, those guys were giving it their all. And that was my favorite part of watching the game last night. Really, it was the post game.
And Baycott can rebound the hell out of the basketball.
He man is a walking rebound.
Hard. What did you say, Hunter?
He's a walking rebound.
Man, he is. Every game he puts up 14, 15 boards. And he did it hurt last night in the Natty. He's awesome. They were fun to watch, man. Hubert Davis did an unreal job. I can't stress that enough. He was taking some pretty good criticism when North Carolina was on the bubble earlier this year. And they got hot in the tournament, and they were a couple shots from falling away from winning a national championship in his first year, which would have been an unreal feat, because where do you really go from there? I mean, it's championship or bust, which I guess if you go to North Carolina, it is in general. But, man, what a tournament.
Well, think about this, Cam. So you just brought that up. What does John Shire do next year? I mean, Hubert already backed up Roy Williams by going to a national championship and burying Coach K in the Final Four. So now you got John Shire, his first year at Duke. I mean, he has to win a national championship, right? Like, to have any sort of trump card at all.
Has there ever been a coach with bigger expectations and bigger shoes to fill in the history of sports?
Don't they have 3 of the top 5 recruits in the country coming in next year too?
I mean, they do every year, but yeah, that is.
Yeah, so the expectations are going to be there because of the talent. Obviously, the expectations are going to be there because of the logo on the jersey.
Yeah.
And your arch rival just had a first-year head coach take his team in his first year to the national championship game. Like, good luck, man. I'm glad I'm not in John Shire's shoes.
Yeah, that's a tough job. If he succeeds there, he's the man, because that is the pressure on him, and that is wild.
Yep.
So, okay, let's talk a little Duke here. Coach K, he's done. Hanging him up retired to his biggest rival. WWE can't write a storyline like that, man. That is crazy. First time they've ever met, North Carolina and Duke, in the Final Four. Coach K retirement, 8 seed North Carolina beats Duke, retires Coach K, and ends a Duke team that I thought was really good. I enjoyed watching Duke. They were a good team. Paolo Banchero, he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. He's going to be a stud in the NBA. Tar Heels knocked him off. just every time Duke hit a big shot, North Carolina would come right back with one of their own. And that Caleb Love 3, legendary 3. Tar Heels fans, once they kind of let that loss kind of simmer down a little bit, they'll look back and be like, man, take me back to Duke, North Carolina in the Final Four, because that was one hell of a night. So Yag, I'll throw it to you. Talking Duke, is this a failed season for Duke? We talk about Duke, North Carolina's championship boom or bust. Is this a failed final year for Coach K?
Well, first, before I get into Duke, I wanted to back up what Cud said about Bill Self in Kansas. I'm with him. I don't think he really needed a championship to solidify the fact that he's an elite coach. I mean, what is it? He's been there, 16 years, and he's never been lower than a 4 seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. Consistency, I think, is what makes great in something, is the fact that no matter what, you are always good. And Bill Self and his Kansas teams you see them every year. You're like, oh, there it is. Kansas is a 2 seed. I didn't even realize, and so.
Yeah.
And
I just think Yag, I'm going to cut you off real quick just to add something. Yeah. It's crazy. He gets criticized almost for being that consistent, because people say, oh, well, he can just coach in the regular season. He doesn't win a lot of national championships. The dude has been to 4 Final Fours now in 16 years. So a quarter of his seasons, he's in the Final Four. I mean, that's not just a regular season coach. Just because he's always a 1 or 2 seed, you can't use that against him. I mean, that's a good thing to be a 1 or 2 seed in the tournament. That shows that you are a good coach. You're good at your job.
Good conference he's doing that in too.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah. All right, Yeager, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, think about it. If you were sitting down for a new coaching hire and the guy came in and he said, and I told you, hey, this guy you're about to hire in the next 16 years, he's going to go to the Final Four a quarter of the time. He's never going to be lower than a 4 seed. You're going to be like, bro, that's money in the bank for this university.
Even at Kansas, that's still good.
Absolutely. He's playing in a really tough conference. And so, I mean, Baylor won the championship last year and they're in the same conference. I mean, it's no small feat, right?
And then Texas Tech finished runner-up the year before that, or I guess 2 years, the last tournament.
Absolutely. And you got Texas is always a tough play. They won the Big 12 conference last year. So like it's a conference where anyone can come out of nowhere and play you hard for 40 minutes. So as far as Duke goes, I don't know if it's a failed season. I mean, getting to a Final Four, granted, I do think Duke let that game against UNC slip through their fingers.
Free throws.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to that, you're Coach K sitting on the sideline watching your guys miss 3-4 free throws in a row in the last 40 seconds. It's like, come on, like this is just unbearable.
Get you every time. Every time.
So I don't know if it's a failed season. Final Four is awesome. I think in Coach K's eyes, he's like, I would have loved to go out with the championship. He's like, that's, the greatest thing there is for me. But I don't think it's a failed season. I think Final Four, you're talking about how many games you have to win in a row. What is it? You got to win 4 games in a row in the tournament against the best of the best to get to the Final Four. Like, that's no small feat. So I got to hand it to Coach K and Duke, especially because during the regular season, people are like, this Duke team is super overrated. I don't know how they're ranked number 7. I don't know how they're ranked number 3. They keep losing these games. They're so overvalued, So for the fact that like everyone thought that they weren't as good as they were, and then they still went out and did it and got to the Final Four, I think says a lot. And it's it's like I've said a million times. The truly great teams, they make it happen when it matters most. Because I don't care if you're Duke, Kansas, all these blue bloods. Kids are still kids playing in the tournament for the first time ever.
Yep.
They got to still go out on the big stage and take on those nerves and take on those games and win. So I think they had a good season.
They did. I mean, and they had a tough road too. They had to go through Michigan State, Texas Tech, and then a really good Arkansas team just to get to Carolina after their first.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The only reason I'd say that I don't know if I'd say it's a failure. That might be a little strong, but Duke fans are not going to look back on this year fondly because they lost to North Carolina.
Yeah.
If they had lost to Baylor or Kentucky or Purdue in the Final Four, hey, that's all right. We made the Final Four. We probably got knocked out about where we should have. But losing to Carolina, that's going to sting. Like they're never, ever, ever going to live that down. And so I think to say that it's a failure might be a little strong, but it definitely wasn't a good year. It was not a successful year if I'm a Duke fan.
No. And imagine being Coach K retiring and you got retired by your arch rival. I think Coach K will be fine because he's an egotistical maniac, so he'll sweat that off. But yeah, I mean, here in Duke, like we talked about in the last pod, Duke, North Carolina is the biggest rivalry in sports outside of Yankees, Red Sox. I mean, it is the cream of the crop of sports rivalries, and those two do not get along. So, like I said, Tar Heels fans, once they kind of swallow the pill, losing the Natty, they'll look back and be like, "Yeah, we retired Coach K in one of the best basketball games we've ever seen."
Yeah. And
Wow.
and I'd like to say real quick, Hunter, you even called it. You were talking about it last week of how does North Carolina really, are they that upset if they lose the Natty because we retired Duke?
Especially like that.
Exactly. I mean,
because
that will
Duke
be
showed up in the game too. It's not like Duke just rolled over. Like they took Duke's best punch and punched back and beat them. And that's something that if I'm a Carolina fan, I'm walking around like this, chest puffed out for about the next year.
Especially when you
absolutely.
see Duke. And you were,
Yeah.
hey, remember when we beat you all in the Final Four last year?
Yeah.
One of my stats professors here got his doctorate from North Carolina. He was at UNC for his PhD in statistics. Talk about a wizard, dude.
Wow.
He's nuts. So, but anyways, I was talking to him about it yesterday when I was in class, and I was like, dude, honestly, I mean, what are people saying? Like, even if you guys lose the national championship, or is everyone just literally amped out of their minds at the fact that they retired Coach K and beat Duke, first appearance ever in the tournament? He was like, oh yeah. He's like, we couldn't be happier. There are people in Chapel Hill burning couches, rioting in the streets, like just going crazy over beating Duke in the tournament. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I want to get one more thing. We close the chapter on March Madness. I want to get everybody's favorite moments from the tournament. I'll start. Obviously, St. Pete's pretty obvious one, but all the upsets this year. And a team that I love dearly after this was the Chattanooga Mocs. You talk about a team with heart and grit. That's my Chattanooga Mocs. They gave Illinois everything they had. Fell short by one, but that was one of my favorite games of the tournament. Chattanooga, favorite memory for Brownie this year in the tournament. So, Hunter, I'll go to you.
And I don't know. I truly don't know. It's going to sound crazy. I think looking back, just as a Baylor fan, at the way that we came back and forced overtime.
Yeah.
Even though that
was wild.
Even that game still haunts me, right? I'm watching the Final Four this weekend and I'm thinking, this could be us, right? We could be playing against Duke instead of North Carolina. But yeah, the grit showed by my team that night.
Grit scale was high.
Second to none. It broke through the grit scale.
Shattered it completely.
So, I think that's something I'll remember for a long time. Putting aside the obvious Caleb Love shot. I mean, that's one of the best shots I've ever seen. I'm never going to forget watching that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going to have to say watching the Baylor guys just, not quit down 25. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. All right. Yay. Favorite moment of the tournament this year?
He's stumped.
I will say, favorite
moment
of the tournament is sitting there watching these games with your boys when we're all at the house.
Oh, bro, that was
throwing
awesome.
a couple dollars down on these games. There's just nothing more fun than just putting your heart and soul into some bum team like Chattanooga, just riling them with the boys. So much fun.
Yes, that was awesome. I can't wait to be sitting in the Wynn Sportsbook with y'all next year.
Can't wait.
Cutter, you going to be there?
He'll be there. We're all going.
The question is that, son. I'll be there.
Good. We're going to have a row of chairs.
We're all going.
We're going to be just yelling. I think, honestly, I'm thinking 2022 March Madness. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Honestly, I really enjoyed watching the Houston Cougars.
You fell in love with
this tournament.
Yeah, you
Bro,
did.
there's something about
Talk
those
about grit.
kids
Yeah.
that I was like, you know what? It reminded me of the same reason I fell in love with the Chicago Bulls when I first
Yeah.
started watching NBA basketball is I watched Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler and Lou Deng and Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah and that starting five. And there was just something about their attitude, just the way they played ball. You know, the fact that everyone was like the Heat and they're going up against them. And it was like must see TV on ESPN when they would play.
Yeah.
I
Cleveland.
just loved Joakim Noah, right? And all those guys that they would just get in your face. And it was just, we're not taking crap from anyone. And the Houston Cougars kind of gave me that same feel. They were like, we literally do not care what anyone says. We're going to go out and win. And you think about their road, they had a tough road. They had some tough games.
Yep.
You know, and if they had beaten Arizona, they would have had to play Villanova, which would have been another just crazy hard game.
They did beat Arizona and played Villanova. Villanova was where they scored 40.
Right. Right. If they had beat
Kansas.
Villanova, if they had figured out how to shoot the basketball and not gone 1 of 20 from 3 and beat Villanova,
Disgusting.
then they would have had to play
Kansas.
which would have been another hard game, and then would have played the winner of Duke UNC, which would have been, they had a tough road, and those boys played with heart. I mean, it was the first time in a long time where I was like, I want to buy a Houston Cougars t-shirt, you know, and like any team t-shirt. I haven't even thought that about the Longhorns in years because I'm like, it is going to just remind me of disappointment. But watching the Cougs,
hey.
man, it was awesome.
Speaking of that, I saw today that
Oh.
I don't know if all teams are doing it, but Baylor is now selling basketball jerseys with players' names on them.
Yeah, that's starting
So
out with
That's pretty cool. That's
that
cool.
it looks awesome. Like I can go buy an Adam Flagler jersey. How cool is that?
That's cool.
That's-
Bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. So now
Yeah.
you can get you a Houston Cougar jersey.
There you go.
Dude, I really like that squad, dude. I
Mhm.
may become a seasoned fan.
You fell in love with that team.
Crazy athletic team too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
athletic.
You are. All
I
right,
loved watching those guys.
Cud, your favorite moment from March?
My favorite moment is St. Peter's Purdue game.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
no, I mean, every year you see an upset, and usually the next round they fold. Like it was, hey, we won, great upset, and that's it. That team didn't blink an eye. And not only did they beat Purdue with everyone was talking about their 2-7-3 guys and how are they going to cover them? How are they going to rebound? They didn't care. Then they played so good. And of course, we know they beat them, but that's the game that sticks out to me is they didn't fold after they beat Kentucky. And who they beat second round?
Murray
I forget.
State.
Murray State. So, not only beating Kentucky, beat a good Murray State team, and then you beat a Purdue team that was very good this year. So that's the game that really sticks out to me.
Yeah, me too, Cud. That was one of the craziest upsets I've ever seen. I'll never forget it because, like you said, you have the 4 days rest. I talked about it last week. Your magic you got going usually kind of wears off. You show up and just get smoked, and that's it. And hey, great run. They showed up and hit Purdue in the mouth several times. They were not scared of Purdue. They were not scared of their size. They were not scared of Jaden Ivey, NBA. Jaden Ivey's going to be an unreal NBA player. They didn't bat an eye. I said, okay, let's play some ball. And they beat them. It was awesome. I'll
Yeah.
never forget that. So what a tournament, boys. Another awesome tournament in the books. I'm sad it's over, but there's a certain tournament going on this week, and we'll get to that in just a second. March Madness is over. Cud, give me your who the hell are you for this week real quick. We'll talk about that certain event going on this weekend.
So this week, as the NBA season is coming to a wrap, Sunday, last games of the regular season, the who the hell are you, not this week, but maybe the entire season has been the Portland Trailblazers. You have one of the best backcourts in the game with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. You get rid of Terry Stotts. You bring in Chauncey Billups. First year, you trade CJ McCollum, right-hand guy, second best player on the team. And then Damian Lillard, hell, he hasn't played a game in like 90 days. He's been hurt for a long time. So now you have a bunch of basically a minor league team out there playing the damn Bucks every night. And I feel bad for my man Chauncey Billups. He's trying to start his career, and he's got this group chat for a starting five. So
He wishes.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, man. So yeah, they're just been a complete failure of a season. I don't know what's going on in the front office. They might have heard about that Miami ownership tank job and said, "Hey, let's do that." So
Yeah.
Trust the process.
but yeah, that's this week's Who the Hell Are You?
Tanking is a massive problem in the NBA. I mean, massive. I live in Houston, so the Rockets are on down here, and I tune into their games every now and then. They are legitimately unwatchable. They have guys I've never heard of. They are trying to lose a basketball game on national television. It's just bad. NBA's got to figure that out. I know baseball's working to do the same thing, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's just a slap in the face to your season ticket holder. You're going out here and losing about 40 every night. It's brutal. So who the hell are you, Portland Trailblazers? Do better. My man Chauncey deserves more respect than that. You're right, Cud. All right.
Well,
Final segment. Go ahead.
To back up the tanking thing, it's tough with the NBA because tanking brings like a massive reward. There's really only 3 guys that come out of college every year that are NBA level talent, that can play, right? The rest end up being your 12th guy and then going to the G League and then going over to Europe. So they got to figure out something because, yes, it sucks watching your team just absolutely get ripped apart for an entire season. But the problem is if you do it and you end up getting that 1, 2, or 3 slot, I mean, everyone just tore the Knicks apart. But RJ Barrett has, been pretty good for them.
The Knicks are playing real well.
I mean, the Grizzlies tanked and got Ja Morant, and now look at them, So you can
one player can just do so much for a franchise in the NBA, and it's not like that in the NFL or MLB. I mean,
no, it's tanking in the NFL doesn't work because even if you draft a phenomenal quarterback,
yeah,
I mean, people are going to say, "Well, look at Joe Burrow." Well, Joe Burrow is an exception to that rule. Like,
yeah,
Baker Mayfield was a number 1 overall. Kyler Murray was a number 1 overall.
The Sixers started this whole thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They were one of the
absolutely.
worst teams I've ever seen 7, 8 years ago. And it's
Yeah.
somewhat worked out for them. They got Embiid, they got Simmons.
Do you think if you were a Philly fan, do you think it would be worth it? All those years of just being
you gotta win
awful?
one. You gotta win one.
I mean, just not even, they weren't even watchable.
Oh no,
No.
they were pathetic. You gotta win one, and they really hadn't been that close. So as of right
Do
now,
you think one makes it worth it?
yeah, just one. Like Toronto,
Oh, yeah.
Toronto gave away everything for that one championship to get Kawhi to come there. I'd say
I understand. I think giving away everything and then purposely losing for 5 straight years, those are
gotta
2
win.
different things.
you gotta win one.
You just got to get in the NBA. It's about having one superstar because, like honestly, think about the big markets. People are going to want to go play in Philly versus Memphis 10 times out of 10.
No doubt.
But now that Memphis has got this grid scale going off the X and Y axis, and then you got Ja Morant, who's just an animal. How many free agents this next year are going to say, "I want to go play with that guy"?
It looks like they're having fun.
Oh,
Yeah. So
they're awesome.
But like with the Philly deal, they got Joel, then they got Ben, and then they signed Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. I mean, they've had free agents come in,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. All right, so let's jump into the final segment of the pod. There's a certain event going on this weekend called the Masters. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's only the biggest golf tournament of the year. And there's a certain cat that will be roaming around playing this week. Tiger Woods is back from his injury. He will be playing in the Masters. He has not officially come out and made a statement, but rumor is that he is playing. He's been there for 2 weeks now, Hunter. He's going to play, barring some crazy setback tonight where he just wakes up and says, "Nah, I'm not playing." Have you seen the video, Hunter, of his press conference? And they said, "Tiger, do you think you have a chance to win this Masters? Because I know you always said you're not going to play if you don't think you can absolutely win." And he said, "I do." Put that in a commercial.
Yeah. And I'm disgusted that they're letting adult content like that on national television these days. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Look at the children.
The children. I mean, that is explicit as I've ever seen.
X rated.
My goodness. But yeah, is he going to win? No. I mean, Tiger Woods is not going to win. But dadgummit, to hear him sit there and say that, it just takes you back, doesn't it? I mean, it just
Love it.
makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
We
I
talked
don't know,
about
dude.
that.
Didn't you hear what Fred Couples said?
I did hear what
drivers- he
Fred
said
Cup-
Tigers
speaking of
drivers
explicit
looking
content, we need to
automatic.
calm down with that. Like he needs to calm down with that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Fred Couples said Tigers drivers looking automatic.
Yes.
And that has always been Tiger's Achilles heel around Augusta.
And he's hitting it far too.
Mm.
He played that practice round with JT and Freddie yesterday, and the article that I read said on hole 8, Tiger was 20 yards past both of them. 20 past JT.
Hey, that's what new equipment will do for you, dude. Maybe I need to upgrade my driver from 2012.
There you go, Yag. That'll help for sure. So
Hey, I'll let y'all. Hey, y'all listen to this. I played 18 holes on Saturday,
Oh,
and let me tell you, I can still hit the freaking golf ball. I was impressed with myself.
There's
I
a
mean,
shock.
My gosh,
Kidding.
I was like, no, listen. So it was a 4-man scramble tournament.
that's how you know you're a has-been. You start playing those, Yag, like me.
We were 9 under through 9.
Nice. Were you playing
We,
Peachtree?
and no, dude, we were playing Thanksgiving Point up here in Utah. But that's not the point. The point was I was hitting some shots. I mean, my gosh, it was incredible. Like I was like, hold on just a minute. I may still be like a 4 handicap
Get
or a
that
5
tour,
handicap.
Yag.
Huh?
Get that tour card.
Bro, I was sitting there and I was like, should I try Monday qualify for something?
There you go, Yag. All right.
I'm like, dude, it was crazy.
So, Hunter, I asked you this last week. I want to ask you again. What are your expectations for Tiger this week? Obviously, we don't expect him to win. I don't even necessarily expect him to make the cut. I just want to see that he's healthy. Be good to see him.
Yeah.
And maybe he can be around on the weekend. Give us 4 days of Tiger. Well, what should we
Yeah.
expect?
So all right, look, I was thinking about this before the pod, and if I had to put an over under on final position, I would go 25th.
I was going to say 28.
So what I want to do is I want to go around the horn
What's the
and
total
in front
number?
of God and everybody,
72?
all 8 of our listeners,
13?
let's say better or worse than 25th place for Tiger this week.
What's the total number? Was it 54 guys?
They're
Playing
90.
the tournament, there's 91 playing the tournament.
I'm thinking of where's the one where they have like the top 50 or the top 50?
That's the match play or some Firestone, whatever.
No,
One of those WGC.
that's yeah, you're right. That's a WGC event.
Yeah, there's 91 guys in the field this week. I'll go first. I'll say over. I'll be the negative guy.
Like that's worse. Let's do better or
No,
worse.
but Cam, no.
Oh.
What do you truly believe? You don't have to be the negative guy.
No, I truly believe he will not be top 25.
No,
The
we're
guy
keeping
played-
receipts here. We're going to come back here next week and we're going
He
to air it
hasn't-
all out.
I mean, I don't want to. I mean, I want Tiger to win the whole darn tournament. Don't get me wrong, but he hadn't played competitive golf in 2 years. This is the Masters.
I don't know, bro. Did you see him at Orlando with Charlie, bro? He was hitting the rock.
Charlie was.
So Jaeger, you're going better?
Look, let's be realistic about the numbers, right?
That's
The
what I'm
winner's
saying.
probably going to shoot about 12, which means top
gonna be
25 is going to be like 4 under,
I'm gonna
5
say-
under, something
I'm
like
going to
that.
say, Hunter, what did DJ shoot when he won? He gets to the 20s when he won in that
Gosh.
broad major. It was like
I don't think so. I think he got
What
to
was
18 and
Hideki
tied the
last-
record.
well, what was
didn't he?
Hideki last year?
Hideki was like 8 or 9, maybe. It's going to be lower this year, though. Of course, it's going to be soaking wet. It's going to be so soft.
Has it been?
I don't know
raining
about
a lot in
soaking wet,
Augusta?
dude. It's Augusta. They can dry that thing out pretty quick. The rain's supposed to stop
Yeah.
after Thursday morning.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? I thought it was supposed to rain all week.
It should be all right. I'm
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
a little-
Those
Oh,
boys
you-
play well when it's soft out there, man.
That's what I'm
They can
saying.
Well,
fire. They
the-
can throw in some shots.
Well, the problem is it's going to be harder to walk.
Yeah.
When, it's like that's the thing with Tiger is it's going to be a lot more if it's like sloppy. If they do get a lot of rain and it becomes sloppy, it's going to be hard for him to get around.
Yeah.
So that's the concern.
I'm going to say worse, but that's what I believe. If you put a gun in my head and say pick, that's what I'm going to go with. But that's not what I'm rooting for, by God. So, Yay,
Code, what
what
do
was
you
the
think?
final answer? Indecisive today, Yay.
That just feels like a good over under, but I'm gonna go under 25
Better?
as far as like top 25. Yeah,
So better.
Cud,
yeah,
what
better.
do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of confident about this. I think he's going to do
Oh,
better.
dirty to me, Cud.
I think he's going to do better for two reasons.
Really? You're
One-
anti-Tiger.
No, no.
Whoa.
Yes.
I just like giving you a trash.
Oh, you're a Tiger hater. Don't come
no.
out here and start spreading lies.
No, Phil Mickelson is my favorite golfer. Tiger's not, but I still love Tiger, and I root.
Bad time to be a Phil fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I still root for Tiger, and it's great that he's even attempting to play. You know, it's incredible. But no, I think he's going to do better than top 25. And for one, I think just he's been away from the game for so long, dealing with so much. I think just being out there, he's just going to be kind of like set free, you know, and actually just forget about all that stuff he's been going through and just play golf. And then the second reason is he's been there for what, 10 days now?
Been there for a while.
So yeah, I honestly, I think he's going to play pretty good. I mean, I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to surprise everyone when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think he gets better than 25th.
Who is that?
Unsurprisingly.
Samantha.
Who's
Like-
next?
Samantha in the background.
Yeah, sorry about that. She's on the work call.
Okay, pal.
Yes, he's gonna get better than 25th
Yes.
because so do y'all remember in 2010 it was the first tournament he played after the accident, scandal, basically the worst winter of his life.
Yeah.
He hadn't made a public appearance until the Masters, and he came out, I think he finished like 8th, 9th or something. And there's just something about this place that's kind of a haven for him.
Yeah.
So I think
Play
he's
ball.
going to come out, and I'm taking Freddie Couples at his word, that Tiger's going to come out. He's going to be automatic off the tee, and he's going to finish 18th with
Yeah.
a low round of 68.
That was going to be my number, Hunter. The
Yeah.
second-
That's plenty of Tiger coverage on Sunday too. He's top 20.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you worry about that?
Well-
Do you worry about because
Not me. Not one bit.
Yes,
I'm,
okay.
I'm not that guy. I know exactly what you're going to ask.
I'm going to go on a little rant here. I'm going to go on a little rant.
Oh,
Don't
no.
take this stance.
So I was listening to Greeny the other day, and Greeny said that golf needs Tiger to play in the Masters.
It does.
That's baloney.
no, it's
That is
not.
absolutely baloney.
It is not.
Have you watched a golf tournament recently?
Time out. Before we get into this, golf as a sport doesn't really need it, but there'll be a million trillion more
Well, yeah.
with Tiger playing.
Yes.
Well, did y'all see
But
that
the game-
picture? Did y'all see that picture of the crowd following Tiger?
Yeah,
through
it's the
practice
Tiger effect
round?
is we'll never
Yes.
see anything in sports like the Tiger effect ever again in any sport ever as long as we're alive. Ever.
Correct.
So it is good for the game if Tiger is playing.
Of
That's
course
a
it
fact.
is. Of course it is.
So it's better if he's there. Does golf need him at this point? No. But it's
Do you remember how crappy golf was? I again go back to that 2009, 2010 vacuum, all the way up
When
through
he
about
didn't-
2015 when he was hurt. When Padraig Harrington won 3 out of 5 majors,
Keith
and you
Goose
had
in majors.
Lucas Glover won the US Open. I mean,
Ben
those were
Curtis.
just hideous times.
Yeah, not
And
good.
now there is this wave of players that has established itself, starting with DJ, going all the way down to the new guys, Scotty and Sam Burns and Colin and Victor and all those guys.
Right.
Golf's in good hands, man. I'm excited
Well-
about things other than Tiger at the Masters, which is something I would not have said
Uh-huh.
5-6 years ago.
But if
Well,
Tiger's
listen,
in the mix-
here's the thing: is even if Tiger were to retire today, golf would only be boring, and what in a world sense, like in the public eye sense, it would only be not great to watch for about 8 more years until this kid named Charlie gets his card, and then it would just re-hype. Because let me tell you, you want to talk about the Tiger effect? Once Charlie Woods gets his card, you can already place a Vegas bet that Charlie Woods wins a major before he's 22.
Are you kidding me?
I
Give
bro,
me
I
no
will
for the
be
farm.
I will be that 40-year-old. No, I won't be that old. 35-year-old that is like Charlie Woods at the Masters, sign me up.
He's like
Look,
10.
here's my point. Here's my
Well-
point. We've been talking about the Masters, 10, 12 minutes now.
Yeah.
We have not talked about anything but Tiger Woods, and there's a strong likelihood he's not going to be relevant on the weekend. Like, that's my point. I think there are a lot of relevant storylines that are going to be missed because of Tiger.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair, but people, I hate to be
I
that
don't know.
guy
Did
as a-
anyone
as a
did
golf,
anyone
like,
did anyone expect him to win in 2019?
no.
I did. I mean, he had won twice in the
That-
past 6 months.
But
The
leading
guy
up
who
to-
took his mortgage of $95,000 and put it on him to win did.
my point is any random guy is going to tune in for the Masters. Hey, Tiger's 2 back going in Sunday at the Masters. Ooh, let me tune in. Hey, Victor Hovland's got a 2-shot lead over Colin on Sunday. No one's tuning in for that.
Let's be
will.
clear.
As
Let's
golf
be
purists, we will. That's my point.
If Tiger is 2 back on Sunday, that's a different story.
If
I'm
Tiger's two
what
back
I'm
on
talking about
Sunday,
is
you better not call me. You better not text
Listen,
me. You better not
listen.
try and contact me.
what I'm talking about is you turn on live from the Masters right now, and it's live from Tiger, basically.
Yeah,
it's
that's
on
how
Golf
it's
Channel.
always been, though.
I'm not saying
Well,
that. I'm not saying that
here's the
hasn't
thing.
always been
No,
that
no,
way.
listen. The thing is, let's say this was, I don't know, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, right? And Tiger's deciding whether or not he wants to play. I don't think it's as big of a deal because it's the AP Invitational.
Well, it's
I think
certainly not.
I think the Masters have a lot to. You get the same thing with Jordan Spieth during Masters week. Everyone's like, his swing has the yips. Like, he has the yips. He can't swing. His swing looks funky. Then Masters week rolls up, and everyone's like, let me put a G on Spieth to win it. You know, I think Spieth kind of has that same effect because Augusta is just kind of Jordan Spieth and Augusta National. They mesh, right? Tiger Woods and Augusta National, they mesh. You know,
Here's what I'm saying.
It's like Brooks Koepka. You hear the words U.S. Open, and your first thought is to put money on Brooks Koepka to win it, right?
Here's what I'm saying. We need to change the subject because I'm falling into my own trap here. What I'm
I
saying
I
is,
agree with you.
I
agree with you.
I hope
With who?
that
Me or
Tiger.
With Shattuck. We all had the same thing.
We're all agreeing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a me or Yeg, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But I hope Tiger adds to the storylines and he doesn't take away some of the space from the other storylines. Because I mean, you've got
Great golf tournament.
like there's a bunch going on in the game other than Tiger right now. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Tiger just adds to the list of great things to watch this week.
I want to say
here's what you don't. Here's what you don't want is you don't want to be that guy that's 12 over and took a spot from a young kid that could have played at Augusta the first time in his professional
That's not
career.
how it works, Jaeger. There are no
all
alternates at
the
Augusta.
Yeah.
Well, no, you get an invitation, and then if someone drops,
not for the Masters. It's all exemption. There's no
Yeah,
You're kidding.
there's no
I have
field
never-
limit.
it's
what?
you have to earn your way there, and if there's no alternate, there could be.
Yeah,
I have,
they invite-
I have never heard that in the entirety of my life.
It's only the Masters.
Yeah.
And now,
Do
if
you
it-
remember when DJ withdrew because he fell and hurt his back?
Yes, in
And
the
he
shower,
withdrew.
right?
He withdrew Thursday morning. And when he withdrew, like, he waited until Thursday because there was nobody waiting
Yeah,
to get
no
in.
one's waiting.
So he could just wait and see how he felt the day of because there was nobody relying on him to
Oh.
withdraw.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
that's good news.
Yeah.
I want to say this about golf. If there's a non-golf guy listening to this, golf is in its best state that it has
Yes.
ever been in the history of the sport.
Especially American golf.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole other subject. We're going to dominate those European bums for the next 20 years. There are so many good golfers out there right now. And you could say that's because of Tiger, because of what he did for the game.
Yeah.
Hey, love that guy. The tournament this week's going to be unreal because there's legitimately 30 guys that if they win, I'd be like, yeah, I could have seen him win. There's
Yeah.
so much talent.
How
So
about
many
a
good players. Everyone's
Scotty
so
Scheffler
good.
Jordan Spieth final pairing?
Oh,
On
that'd
Sunday?
be wild.
I'd
That'd
love
be
it.
crazy. All right, we're running way low on time, so I want to run through everybody. Cut, I'll start with you. Give me your pick to win the Masters and give me a sleeper no one's talking about this week for the Masters.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll be a homer and pull for my guy, Justin Thomas. I think he's
I like
going to have
that
a good
pick.
tournament. So that's probably, I guess, my favorite pick. One of my guys down the line, I like, what's his name? Joaquin Neiman. I think he'll be playing good this tournament. I like that. Those guys, him and Hovland and I forget the other guy, but anyway, like y'all were just saying, you know, that whole group of age group right there, players is just unreal. And like you said, there's so many guys, not just in the top 5 as far as the odds, you know, to win. You have another 25 guys that are right there that you could see make a run and win the dang thing. So I'm excited because I'm going to be watching every dang shot.
Oh man, every stroke, every swing. Can't wait to
Yeah.
watch Larry Mize tee it up at 7:50 in the morning Thursday. So yay, give me your pick to win and sleeper this week. Yay. Indecisive today.
Is DeChambeau
word.
playing?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, and he's plus 135 to miss the cut. And that's free
Great
money.
bet.
That's free.
Who do I think will win? Scheffler has so much momentum, but there is something about your first time at Augusta that it just
He played
doesn't
last year.
have- Right, but apart from like Spieth and Tiger, no one ever really does it, you know, in their first couple tries. Scheffler has so much momentum. You know who I think is I don't know. I can't pick. I'll have to think on a winner, but you want to know who I think is a great sleeper is Cameron Smith.
Love that pick.
He's not a sleeper. He's got like the 3rd best odds to win.
But no
But
one's really
no one
talking
has-
about him, though, to be
But
fair.
no one
To be
has
fair
said
to-
a word about him,
No.
right? Like he's one of those guys that like, if he was in the lead on Sunday, everyone would be like, what is this guy's odds? I wonder what this guy's odds were to win before the tournament, right? I like Cam Smith. As far as a winner, geez, Rahm's the favorite, but I don't love that. Scheffler, I think, is the second favorite. I also don't love it. Spieth. Justin Thomas. I feel like it's going to be one of those years where just rando wins it. Like just some random dude comes out of nowhere. Like y'all remember when like Appy Barnrat or whatever was in the lead after the first day for like 36 holes like
Always
6
Charlie
years
Hoffman
ago.
is in the lead after Thursday. He'll shoot 7 on
But-
Thursday, and then it'll be done by Saturday.
That's what I'm saying is I think it's one of those years where like a guy that won his first time on tour ever this year makes a run at it.
I like that prediction. I'll go ahead and give mine, and then Hunter, I'll let you close it up. So I'm Xander Schauffele's been my pick for the last 4 months. I'm dying on that hill. Xander does not close particularly well. We talked about that, Hunter. But I'm going to stick with Xander. I think the guy is way too talented to not win a major. I think he's due. He's my pick. Sleeper pick. This might be yours too, Hunter. I'm going Max Homa. Excellent ball striker. He's not on many people's radars going into this week. He's won this year, or he's won in the last calendar year.
Recently, I can't remember if it was this calendar year, but he won this season.
Yeah, he's top 50 player in the world. Really like Max Homa, great ball striker, great iron player. That's my sleeper this week. So Hunter, I'll let you close it out with your pick and then your sleeper.
All right. So
Tiger Woods.
no, I'm not picking Tiger Woods. No, so I said this right when Scotty won in Phoenix. I thought, man, he really does fit Augusta. Like his game fits Augusta. He does everything well. He drives it long. He hits his irons really nice. He's a good putter. I mean, his game really suits Augusta. And then since then, he's now become the best golfer on the planet. So I'd be crazy not to pick him. I was high on him a couple months ago, and he's done nothing but play better and better. And man, he just seems like he's ready to go. And then for my sleeper, I'm picking Sam Burns, which it just makes me feel old. So both those guys that I just picked, I played college golf against, and I'm older than both of them. So
Wow.
when I played with both of them in college, and I was their senior. Think about that. And I just picked them to win Augusta, like to win the Masters.
They very well could do it.
Yeah, I'm knocking on the door of a home. Is what I'm doing.
You're old.
So that's what I'm picking. So I think Sam Burns' odds right now are plus 5,000. The dude won less than a month ago on tour.
Good.
So he's an awesome ball striker. He's as good of a ball striker as he gets. And I'll say this, if it's soft, that really suits somebody who can throw darts with their irons because there's not going to be any roll. You know, at Augusta, usually you got to judge the bounce and be careful about where you leave it on the greens because of the runoff. If the ball's sticking where it lands, that's going to favor somebody like Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Sam, the guys that are just pinpoint with their irons, and they're not really going to have to worry so much about dealing with the big slopes and everything because they can just be really aggressive. They don't have to worry about the runoff. So that's something to keep track of if the weather stays wet. Maybe somebody who hits it far and high.
That's
Well,
Thursday round.
You said exactly that. Like, if it's far and high and it sticks where it lands, is Bryson DeChambeau not a good pick?
No, he's coming back from injury. He's totally lost. Like
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, he hasn't sniffed the golf course in the last couple of tournaments he's played. He's played horrible.
Yeah, he's not playing.
He just can't find it right now.
He did not play well in Austin.
I need to do some more Masters research. I have not looked into this.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening this week. Big weekend coming up. March Madness is over. Awesome run. The Masters this weekend. Tune in. 4 days of great golf. Best time of the year. Go ahead, Hunter.
We're going to have our quick baseball preview. We're recording that tomorrow. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, we're recording Wednesday night. So that pod will be out on opening day, Thursday, probably a quick little 20, 30-minute preview of baseball season.
And a lot of Texas Rangers talk tomorrow. Tune in.
That's right.
One final thought. We skipped this. One final thought. If I'm not mistaken, Jeffrey Yeager won our pick'em.
Oh, yeah.
Not true. We
It is
tied.
true. I had the winner.
No,
No.
y'all tied, but he had the winner. We agreed on the last pod. That was the rule. That was
I
the
did
rule.
not agree to that. I said that we should do a score.
You're outvoted 3-1.
No.
This is democracy.
There's a reason why you get more points each round. He got the extra point because he won the championship. So he got compensated for the championship, and we tied.
You should have had Kansas to win. it all.
So you'd rather share it.
That's bad.
It's not a loss. It's not a loss.
No. Yay.
So here, I'm going to throw a wrinkle in this. My gut reaction for the tiebreaker was who had the most teams in the Final Four, which was
That's
Cud.
Ah,
So I don't know what that does.
should have had a more standardized vote on the last pod.
Hey, we'll figure it out next year.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is my bracket had 390 points.
That's
I
horrible.
really want
So
to
bad.
know. No, next year, here's what I'm going to do. I've already had this idea. This is the first year I've had a bracket that was actually horrendous. Like, typically my brackets are
bad.
decent.
How the hell
Like,
did you win our pick?
I'm a genius. So,
Wrap it up, Yay. We got to go.
Got to.
Finish strong.
next year, I'm going to have my bracket where I swear on my life, this is the perfect bracket. Nothing's going to miss. And
Your
I'm
sheet
gonna
of
have a
integrity.
bracket-
Yeah.
Huh?
Your sheet of integrity.
Right. And I'm going to have I'm going to have a bracket where heads is the favorite, tails is the dog. And I'm going to flip a coin for every pick. And I'm going to see which one does better. Cause I have never had a bracket be so bad in March Madness. 390 total points.
Who was your natty champ? Who'd you pick?
Gonzaga.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
my gosh.
Not a good year for our brackets. So, okay, that's what we'll do. We'll deem you to make cuddling happy. We will deem you co-champions of the pick'em. How's that sound?
That's right.
That's fine with me. I came back
Well
when it
done.
mattered at the end of the fourth.
So, all right, everybody. Like Hunter said, we're going to do a little baseball preview pod tomorrow. We're going to talk a little rags baseball, talk a little big picture baseball. We'll run that out there tomorrow. We'll have special guest Ski on the pod. So, and one more thing, as we kind of get into baseball season, kind of slower time of the year, we'll start having a lot of guests on. So if anyone wants to join, just hit us up on Twitter, shoot us a text. We'll start rolling out a bunch of guests getting on the pod. So appreciate everybody listening. We will see y'all next time.